The sea was angry that day, my friends, like an old man trying to send soup back in the deli. As I approached 50 feet in, the great beast appeared before me, and as sensing my presence, he let out a great bellow, and I said, "Easy, big fella." Of course, you gotta love a good sign for a reference, and actually there's a correlation between that and the screening just came out of for In the Heart of the Sea, as it both center more or less around the whale. Now, after watching the movie, I can pretty much guarantee you're gonna be infinitely more entertained by the Seinfeld episode than you are with this movie. And with that, I welcome you to another episode of The Real Mentor. Of course, my goal is always to enhance your movie watching experience, because that's what a good mentor does. So I was actually kind of looking forward to seeing this movie. Of course, it's directed by Opie Taylor, Richard Cunningham, of course, Ron Howard himself, and whew, he hasn't aged well. So obviously, Ron Howard has given us some really good movies in the past, such as Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, his last movie, Rush, which is not a bad movie, in which he directed the same star as in this movie, Chris Hemsworth. We all know him as Thor, of course. Now, this is the guy who most men want to be like, who most women want to be with. I mean, hell, I'm straight and I want to be with him. Now, contrary to popular belief, this movie is not an actual adaptation of the famous American literary classic Moby Dick, written by Herman Melville. It's actually a story from which the fiction book was actually based out of. Now, Ken Whishaw, who we've seen recently as Q in the Bond movies, the recent Bond movies, he actually plays Herman Melville himself, who reaches out to one of the last surviving members, or maybe the last survivor of the Essex, which is the ship that goes out and encounters the Great Beast. And he pays him to tell him the story about that so he can be inspired and write the last great novel which he was looking for. Let me first start with what I like about this movie, because it's not much. One, Chris Hemsworth, he's fine in the movie. He actually does a good performance. He carries most of the movie. And Ron Howard's direction from a technical standpoint is really good. The movie is very well shot, really good CGI. There's a couple of times you see a little green screen, look kind of off, but for the most part it was well done. Some really cool, interesting action sequences and what have you. But where this movie really fails is from the narrative, particularly in the script, which is poorly written in my opinion. Now, what this movie does, which the book doesn't, is obviously focus more on the aftermath after the encounter with the whale. This is essentially a story about survival. These guys are shipwrecked, abandoned out at sea, and they have to survive, and it gets really dark at times as a result. Now, my big issue with the script, or many issues with the script, is for one, this movie is about survival, perseverance, and those kind of movies usually are inspirational. And this one is completely the opposite. This movie is bland, is dull, joyless, anticlimactic, and it doesn't really give you a good sense, or it doesn't allow you to buy into these characters. There are no characters in this movie. You have mainly the captain, who's pretty much a dick. You have Chris Hemsworth, he's pretty much the hero, of course, of the story, but he's not extremely likable. They don't give him enough screen time in order to really get you vested in the character, or anybody else in the crew. When they start dying, there's moments of tension. It's basically, who cares? I mean, that's the way I felt anyway. And we don't care about the characters. You really don't care what's going on screen. You spend half the time looking at your watch like I did, because there's not much going on. It's a really boring movie. Moby Dick doesn't really show up until maybe an hour into it. And the scenes with the big whale and all that, they look great. And those are actually pretty cool scenes, but there's not enough of them. There's not enough Moby Dick here. Now, it's not very often you hear someone say you want more dick in a movie, but I felt like a straight girl in the middle of a lesbian orgy. Where is the dick? Now, this movie would have been better served focusing on what the book did, and that's on Moby Dick, because that's the best parts of the movie, and it's just not enough of them. The rest, it's meant to, compel you and bring you in, but it fails miserably. And unfortunately, this is a movie which I clearly don't want to recommend. I can't recommend watching on videos. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a horrible movie at the end of the day. It's just a lackluster one. You're gonna be bored. It's a long movie. There's not much going on, to be honest with you. I couldn't wait to get out of there. So at the end of the day, you want to rent it, be my guest. Netflix and chill is perfect. Put in the background as you take care of business, because that's really all this movie is really good for at the end of the day. So again, disappointed by it. There's other good movies, Creed, Good Dinosaur, go watch those. I can't really honestly say go spend your hard-earned money on this movie. So if you guys watch the movie, if you guys like it, please comment below. Let me know why exactly it is that you like it, because maybe there's something I'm not seeing. And as always, follow me on Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe below. Feed my need to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.